report and then do the proper rendition. Page 10. Yes, please. Is it page 9 or 10?
Page 10.
Page 10, yes.
Right Honorable Speaker, I'd like to seek your advice on page 10, item 11. The Honorable Minority Leaders as captured under remarks by the Honorable Minority Leader. If you refer to page 1, item 24, the title Osahin has been captured. And you realize as you go through the votes and proceedings, all the titles as captured for honorable members, it's also used in the narrative. So I want to know, under item 11, we are missing the Osahin. She's supposed to be there. As it's been captured, if you look at page 9, under item 10, for the outgone majority leader, the title DR has been captured. So I want your advice on this. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Member, you are right. The minority leader insists that his title should be captured. Osahin, as I said, is Osahin, not Osahine. So please, even yesterday he drew our attention to it, but he did it in camera, and so it should be captured in the votes and proceedings. Thank you. Page 11. Yes, please.
Speaker, by way of a further guide, does it mean that henceforth the Honorable Minority Leader will be called Osahini Alexander Kwamina Apenyo Markin instead of prefixing that with a Mr.? So Mr. will no longer appear by way of guide.
Well, I think he will prefer the Osahin to Mr.
To Mr.
Yes.
Okay.
But this one is not available to confirm.
Thank you.
So let's leave it as it is now. When it's available, he will confirm. Whether he still wants the Mr. and then at the end they put Osahin, or he wanted to start with Osahin.
Speaker, I'm guided.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You have his authorization and mandate. Yes, please.
Speaker, if you may, I think Hansard will bear me out that we had an occasion to talk about same matter at length, and the leader had insisted and confirmed that he wants to be addressed officially as Osahin. So this is not a matter we should debate about. I recall you were in the chamber then, yes, or you were then lobbying for.
No, he's not contesting yes, that.
You are asking whether we should repeat Mr. together with Osahin.
Yes, that was the issue.
Speaker, that is not the issue at all. I'm only saying that giving your guide, it means going forward, we will see, for instance, the Honorable Minority Leader, a member for Efutu, Osahini Alexander Kwamina Apenyo Markin, instead of Mr. Alexander Kwamina Apenyo Markin, Osahin. Yeah, that's all I'm saying, that there should be, by Speaker's directive, it will bring clarity to how his name will be written. That's what I'm saying.
All of you, I'm sure you know the peculiar situation of the minority leader. You can see from his name. And so he wants to, whether he's from Volta region or he's from Efutu. I don't know, many of you, whether you know him properly, but I know him very well. I know where the dad comes from. And I know where the mom comes from. And I know they settled in Winneba, Efutu. So once he's been given the title Osahin, and he says he should be called Osahin, let's give that to him. He is not Simpa. If you are going maternal, he's Gomwa. If you are going paternal, he is Eve. But he decided that the title given him is Osahin, so he wants that. And he represents Efutu. I shouldn't be telling you your history. I should keep it to myself, and I will do that. But just because this has been raised, that's why I want clarification. Please, page 11. Page 12. Page 13. Page 14. Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Page 14, item 20. Statement. I think yesterday, having discussed on the floor the statement by the honorable member for the statement he put, the right honorable second deputy speaker indicated that the issue needs to be revisited because of its importance, and I believe it should be captured as such. Thank you.
I don't know what happened, whether it was a narrative or just a comment in passing. If it was a narrative, then it should be captured. Second Deputy Speaker, please help us.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, yesterday we had its statement, and the statement was to the effect that after the deliberation, people were insisting that a directive should be given, but we insisted that since the committees are not in place, we should hold on till the committees are in place. So we will revisit it next time that issue is raised. So that is how we looked at it. So it's not something that probably we captured in such a way that at all costs we have to revisit it. But we said that topic must be revisited so that we can probably refer to appropriate committee to look into it because of its importance. So that is how we put it that way.
Well, then I think the rendition as it is correct. We'll leave it for the future. Yes, please.
Speaker, oh, sorry.
Mr. Speaker, on page 14, number 20, paragraph 20, my name, Davis Ansan Opoku. The spelling of Davis, there's no E in there. But I realize that they placed the E in the spelling of Davis. Thank you very much.
Yes, please. The table of estate, kindly take note. Yes, please.
Honorable Speaker, with respect, on the issue of the statement that was made yesterday on item 20. Speaker, this is a very critical issue, and I'm kind of confused about the explanation we are providing regarding the revisiting of the same topic. I'll be happy if, because of the nature, if there could be a definite period within which we will consider this matter. Because, Mr. Speaker, the rate of attrition in our parliament is not only worrying but troubling. So I think that there should be certain definite directive as to when and how this matter should be dealt with. I'm not sure that Speaker, you are happy seeing that more than half of freshers in the last parliament couldn't come back. And I think that we need to do more to avert this disaster. It's a disaster because we don't want this trend to continue. So I'll be happy if there's a right forum or a process for us to have a definite way forward on this matter. Thank you.
Well, honorable members, I think this is one of the agenda items for the 9th Parliament. It's been on for some time now. I recall as far back as the 2nd Parliament. It's not an easy area to legislate. And depending on how you see it, it could also be a blessing to the country. Whereas we're getting many more people to come here to experience and learn what this whole system is about. And so in the early stages of your growth, you open up for many more people to experience it. Because as we say, experience is we say he who feels it knows it better. So when you give them the opportunity to come and feel it, to come and experience it, they know it better, they support the advocacy and the education, and then the people then get to know the system better. So it's good that, yes, we have this high attrition rate, so that many poor people come in. I know a number of people who come in and just after the 4 years, they just opt out. But they see that they don't fit in, and they go back to continue with their various professions. But they learn a lot, and they don't go being misled by others who see it differently. And it helps build up the culture of multi-party democracy in the country. So it's not all bad to have a high attrition rate to start with. But as we go along, you see that many more people will be falling out because they see that, no, it's not worth it. I can serve my country in other areas than in mainline politics. And so that is good for the country. I don't see it as that bad. We see have to be investing to educate and build up the culture of multi-party democracy. And I think it's okay. Let's encourage it. Because it's a matter of choice. If you are good, they will retain you. If you are not good, they will reject you. And that is also good. It rekindles the competitive spirit. And all of you have to show why you should continue to be here. Yes, so let's leave it as it is, but we will definitely come back to it, and we will do more consultation with stakeholders as to which area to legislate and what to legislate on. Honorable members, page 15. Yes, please.
Mr. Speaker, on page 15, at the Business Committee meeting yesterday, Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim was present, but his name has not been captured here as part of the members present.
Honorable member, his name is there. He's the one who presided. And is there. The Honorable First Deputy Chief Whip, Mr. Ahmed Ibrahim, presided. Thank you so much. Page 16. Honorable members, the votes and proceedings of the 5th sitting dated Thursday, 23rd January 2025 as corrected is adopted as a true record of proceedings. We move on to item 6, business statement for the 3rd week. Chairman, Business Committee.
No, I'm making some statement before I go there. I'll go there, I'm making. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to indulge
your colleague is raising some issue. Yes, a minute.
Oh,
yes, please.
Okay.
Please. Sir, I have nothing against our respected deputy leader presenting the business statement. However, I was there. The meeting was presided over by the Honorable Ahmed. You were not there at all. How will you be able to speak to something that you didn't witness? So, Speaker, I'm just bringing this to the notice of the House. If there are things, because we are going to raise issues, will you be able to defend them? You were not there. All right, Speaker, he may proceed, but he should be ready for our questions.
Yes, Honorable Member, actually I didn't hear what you said. So let me hear you and see whether he has made a genuine observation.
I didn't say anything. And then
you haven't said anything.
Yeah, you just jumped in. Mr. Speaker, before we come to the business,
did what?
Before we come to the business statement.
What did you say? He did what? He jumped in.
Mr. Speaker, I would draw that. Mr. Speaker, I was just going to seek your indulgence, basically to guide me to apply to vary the business of the day by going to the commencements of public business and get the chairman of the appointment committee to the 5th report, and then go back then to do the business statement for the 3rd week, and then the chairman will come back in again to do the motion item number 10. This is the request, Mr. Speaker, I was trying to make, and my honorable friend came in, not jumped in, he came in.
Yes, please.
Speaker, I see the first deputy rarely seated, and I have no objection to the humble application made by the deputy leader.
The word used by the standing orders is interrupt. Interrupt. He interrupted you. You see,
Mr. Speaker, I'm guided.
Not jumped in. Yes, honorable members, the request is for us to vary the order of business, and then once there is no objection, I'll proceed to do so, and then we move on straight to at the commencement of public business. Item 8, presentation of papers. The following papers to be presented. 8A, by the chairman of the committee.
Fifth report of the Appointment Committee on His Excellency the President's nominations for appointment as ministers. Honorable members, the paper is presented accordingly,
and is for distribution to all members of Parliament. Item 8B is not ready.
Speaker, that is so. Mr. Speaker, may I pray you to direct the table office to distribute the reports as presently read to members so that they can have...
I've done that already.
Very well, Mr. Speaker.
I've done that. So do we go back to item 6?
That is so. Business statement, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, we allow the chairman of the Appointments Committee to go and continue with his business. Then we go back to item 6, business statement for the 3rd week. Yes, since the chairman of the business committee is not available, can any member of the business committee present the report to the House? Business committee.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The business statement for the 3rd week ending Friday, the 31st of January 2025. Mr. Speaker, the committee met on Thursday, the 23rd of January 2025.
Yes, just a minute. Your colleagues are raising an issue. Yes, please. What is it?
Please take your seat. Speaker, if I will refresh the memory of this House, you recall, Speaker, per your wisdom and guidance, we had constituted the selection committee, the business committee, and the appointment committee for very obvious reasons. So, Speaker, I looked at the membership of the business committee. I did not see the Honorable Rickett as a member. And so I'm unable to accede to his request to present the report. In any case, he wasn't even there. He wasn't present at the meeting. The meeting was chaired by Honorable Ahmed. And I want my colleagues to understand, I'm not being a litigant here. He was not there. Speaker, I was there. Speaker, so if it is the case, Speaker, if it is the case, as to the request of the Right Honourable Speaker was, can any member of the business committee present the report? I am a member, a proud member of the business committee. I will present the report for you. Speaker, if it pleases you, let me present the report for the government side. I've seen my leader smiling at me. But leader, you were not there. Honorable Ayariga, respected majority, that you were not there either. My good friend, Honorable Eche Roxanne, was also not there. Do you want to present your business statement or not? Yes, so it has to be presented by a member of the committee. And your proud minority chief will be here to present a report for you. Speaker, so I don't know how you are going to present the report now. Speaker, your directives were crystal clear. A member of the business committee should do the needful by presenting the report. You don't want to listen to me. I'm the only one here. You won't allow me. Let's see how you present the report.
Yes, please.
Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I'm wondering the basis for which the minority chief whip is raising issue in this matter. Mr. Speaker, may I refer the House humbly to Order 216, Sub-Rule 1. Speaker, is to the effect that the business committee comprises the leader of government business as chairperson, the minority leader as the ranking member, the chief whips, and not more than 11 other members. Mr. Speaker, now your directive was that in the absence of the leader, any member. Mr. Speaker, he hasn't determined that the deputy majority leader is not a member of the committee. And in any case, Mr. Speaker, we have had deputy majority leaders present business statements on this floor. So, Mr. Speaker, I believe that myself, I'm here as the whip. The leader himself is here, competently represented, and we are available to deal with this business. So, I believe that we should make progress in this matter, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
I can only refer to the standing orders in trying to guide members. Or you want to say something before I do that?
Speaker, we will defer to you for guidance. However, my colleague quoted 216, and he's right. He's right. Statutory representation is captured there. It's right. But, Speaker, let's put matters in context here. Were you at the meeting? In the face of the transition, in the face of the transition, he was not there. The meeting was chaired by Honorable Abum. Can you defend what is reflected in the report? All right. I'll be magnanimous. I'll be charitable on this occasion.
Honorable members, please, there is no issue to split hairs over. The standing orders 96, presentation of papers generally. Order 96, a paper may be presented to the House only by the Speaker, the chairperson of a committee, a member, a minister, or a head of an independent constitutional body. Are we together? Have you heard what I read? So clearly,
Speaker, with respect, in this House, we've always been guided by you.
Yes.
And Speaker, we will take a cue from you on any day. However, if you recall, the three committees who were formed were formed by a motion, and same motion was adopted by this House. Now, in proper context, in the face of the motion that was formed, three of you are strangers when it comes to the membership of the business committee, unless we vary the earlier motion that was taken. So let's go by the rules. Yeah.
I don't know why you interrupted my ruling. I have not ruled yet. I have not guided you.
Apologies.
I was just reading Order 96, and I was trying to explain to members that Order 96 talks about chairperson of a committee, a member of the committee, a minister, or a head of an independent constitutional body. These are mandated by our rules to be the only people that can present a paper to the House. And so the issue raised by the Minority Chief Whip is in the right direction. The only thing that could have persuaded me is that if he had sought my leave and also mentioned that he has the authority of the chairman of the committee to do so on his behalf, then he would have been acting as an attorney of the chairman, and I would have permitted him to do so. But he did not do that. And so, not being a member of the committee, and worst of all, not being present at the meeting of the committee, he is not in the position to present the report or paper for and on behalf of the business committee. So I think that objection is upheld. And so we will call on a member of the committee or any of those identified by the standing orders to do so. It doesn't necessarily mean that the member must be government. The system we are running in Ghana allows so many formations. You can have a minority party in government because, honorable member, I can identify the person who was yes, you can have a minority government where the people decide to elect your flag bearer as president, but disagree with the parliamentary candidates and opt for the majority to be in opposition. You can have that. You can also have an independent presidential candidate being the president of Ghana. Yes, that is the choice of the people, and it's allowed by our constitution. And so in such a situation, you cannot be talking about the government until he decides to constitute his government. And he can decide to constitute his government as independent presidential candidate, now president of the country, by choosing his ministers from the political parties. Definitely they have to come from political parties or outside political parties. But by our constitution now, majority should be from where? Parliament. And they have to be from political parties. So you can have all sort of formations, government formations, using the 1992 constitution. And so when we were crafting the rules, we took all those things into consideration. And that is why even now, we try to respond to the winner-take-all situation in the country by allowing people whose party is not in power to even chair select committees. That is in the new standing orders. So that it's not like because you've won, every power is given to you. There will be power sharing in the House so that we can hold the House as an institution, as a family, as a body, work in the national interest, not in the interest of parties. So I think that that is right. And the members of the committee, and that is why I gave the option that any member of the committee, the president, the chair not being present, could present the report of the committee. As we rule. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the Minority Chief Whip raises a further question about even the capacity of the Leader of Government Business being able to present the report of the Business Committee if that person has not been captured in a report laid and adopted in this House as a member of the Business Committee. So far as he is concerned, and I listened to him carefully, following the reconstitution of the front bench of this side of the House and the coming into office of a new Leader of Government Business, once you were not captured in the earlier report on committees, which was laid and adopted in this House, it appears to me that his contention is that even that person is, strictly speaking, not a member of the Business Committee and can therefore not present the report. But Mr. Speaker, I want you to rule, take into consideration Order 2161. Because 2161 says the Business Committee comprises the Leader of Government Business as chairperson, the Leader of the party or parties in Parliament which do not form the government as the ranking chairperson, the Chief Whips, and not more than 11 other members. This is a committee in which the officials are identified by their offices and not as individuals. By their offices and not as individuals. So to read this standing order to be amendable by the report of a committee adopted by this House appears to me to be what he is seeking to do. Can we say today that Honorable Atuforsen remains the chairperson of the Business Committee in the face of Order 2161? Can we say that Honorable Abuja remains a member of the Business Committee in the face of Order 216? Because it is one of the few committees where membership is statutory and identified by office. So whoever occupies that office automatically becomes the person that should be on the committee. And I believe that those who framed this did not intend that any time that there is a change in that office holder, that we come and then hold a meeting, that we appoint new members representing those offices and then present their report and debate their report and then adopt it and etc. I believe that anybody who steps into those offices automatically become the members of that committee and can carry the functions of that office. So, Mr. Speaker, I invite you to consider that and give guidance. This is the first time it is happening, I believe, and this is a novel situation, and you are the custodian of the rules and the interpreter of the rules and the person who ensures that it is enforced. So, Mr. Speaker, I invite you to give us some guidance on this matter.
Yes, Honorable Member for Asawase.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I respectfully disagree with the majority leader. Well, Mr. Speaker, when you were doing the report, you had their names before designation. And supposing it was like the Intelligence Committee, where each member had to swear. Are you saying by change of name as authority leader of government business and changes, you step in and you don't have to swear, you have to swear an oath? So, Mr. Speaker, Yes, I agree that we are masters of our own rules, and for convenience, we can stand down most of the orders and just take the amendment at a shot. But to assume that you could just walk in and carry on, the Speaker, even though it's not explicitly stated in our rules, we'll be setting a bad precedent, in my view. Because, like I said, when the report was being taken, it was Honorable Atuforsin, Majority Leader, Honorable Kwame Govins Abuja, Majority Chief Whip. So now, if Honorable Mama Yarga becomes the Majority Leader, it is a simple process that we need to go back and change. Because if there was supposed to be a swearing in, we would have to take the oath. We would not just walk into it. Yes, it's not explicit, but I think that looking at our standard and our practice, this would be the neatest way to do it, rather than to assume that you just walk in. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, first of all, my understanding of the practice of this House is that when you make a determination on the matter, a member who is aggrieved may have to come back to you formally. As far as I'm concerned, the application by my colleague, Honorable Anodombre, was upheld by you. But be that as it may, since the leader of government business wants to introduce us to some jurisprudence, which in my view is good for our purpose, because there is a chamber of debate, save that his continuous exercise of this right will lead to the delay of government business, and will support him if you want to delay government business. I cautioned him yesterday, because there are great lawyers and debaters here who will join him in this exercise, which will take the whole day. So when government business delays, you shouldn't blame the minority, because around this time, you should have finished your thing and then move on. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Mubarak Mutaka took the wind out of my sail when in his second point, he talked about suspension of our rules. The rules recognize situations where we would have such lacuna, and therefore provided for in Order 3. Order 3, suspension of standing orders. With your leave, Mr. Speaker, I quote, 1. Subject to the provisions of the Constitution, a motion for the suspension of an order or part of an order may be moved without notice with the leave of the House. 2. Where the order or part of the order is to be suspended, reasons must be stated prior to the suspension of the mover of the motion. And 3. The Speaker shall suspend the order pursuant to the leave of the House. So reading 3, 1, 2, and 3 together, my humble view, and I respectfully submit in all modesty, that the respected majority leader should have come under this to move the House to suspend the rules. We've done this before in the ministerial nominations that we received. I stood here and moved on your behalf that we've received the first one. We are aware that Mr. Speaker may be out of the jurisdiction. We are aware that Parliament will be going on orientation and all. Therefore, should we receive any other communication from the President, we should waive the requirement that Mr. Speaker would have to read and refer. And we came under Order 3 to mean that all things that will be done must be presumed to be regular. Therefore, we would proceed to vet. This we did. So the right way to go was to pray with our leave for this rule to be suspended. But put that aside. Mr. Speaker, the respected majority leader has introduced a new argument, which with all due respect, I disagree with him. He can never be wrong, but I disagree with him. He says that there is a certain definition, he places some interpretation on Order 216 to say that Order 216, and at the risk of being repetitive, I shall read it one more time. The Business Committee comprises the leader of government business as chairperson, the leader of the party or parties in Parliament who do not form the government as the ranking member, the chief whips, and not more than 11 other members. To him, to the extent that he had assumed the black chair, the rule of automaticity triggers. Well, I would agree with you that when procedure and prudence clash, prudence must supersede. But it doesn't operate in this context, with the greatest respect. Because here we've laid down a procedure, a known one, and that is why you can find solace in Order 3. So therefore your argument that these provisions are there, so there is no requirement for a motion to be moved, and that is why Mr. Speaker rightly supported the respected minority chief whip, that we enacted a process. Is the reason why the letter from your General Secretary did not just get to Mr. Speaker's office, but a certain procedure was followed. Mr. Speaker read it, and if you pay attention to the language of Mr. Speaker, when he finished, he now invited the leaders to initiate the process, whereupon your predecessor came to the dispatch box, read his final message to the House, and ushered you in, and we congratulated you. Sir, if this your jurisprudence persists, government business will suffer. Do the needful. Because today is Friday. When you were on this side, on a Friday like this, you will be doing this, that you want to go to the mosque. I don't know what has changed. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, yesterday I told the majority leader that the day that we heard, the rumor brought it up, that he was going to assume the black chair on his side. One of my researchers told me that she's followed this legislator, and his passion for the law is so great that I should get my team to prepare for some legal exercise. It is good, but not when your back, look, all these empty seats. Not when you have all these empty seats. Just look behind you. So if you know, Mr. Speaker, you remember when I was the leader of government business, on occasions where I tried to, push a certain agenda, he would tell me that look behind you. Mr. Speaker, see how posterity, just look behind you. I'm not doing government business. I don't have government business. I am opposition leader. My business is at large. Look behind you. You want to pass Honorable Muntaka today. Because Honorable Muntaka, let your majority leader know that we agreed to vet you today because of certain exigencies. And he is delaying this house. And your members will not keep quiet. They still think they are in opposition. He should look behind him, how empty the seats are, and direct the whip, the majority chief whip, Honorable the Femako, to get out of the seat His place is not where he is. This is not the time to be seated in your seat comfortably. Where is Richard Achampo? No, I won't talk about Doyo. They are new. They're two young men. They are supposed to start whipping the members in. Because even if we are to take the bill, the report, you don't have the numbers. And we are going to insist on it. So end it here, seek the lead, present the business committee report. Let's have some discussion on it. Mr. Speaker would allow you to adopt it and make sure this chamber is filled with your members. Then we can do government business. Mr. Speaker, I rest my case.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I raise the issue in all sincerity, just a matter of jurisprudential interest, not because I really want to delay anything, but I noticed that we haven't really been confronted with a situation like this before. And I think that at a more convenient time, we should revisit this. Going under Order 3 to seek your leave and the leave of the House to bypass any of the orders and do business in this House is not a difficult thing to do. But this is a matter that Speaker should think about, and at a convenient date give us some indications, because your rulings also constitute part of the rules and the orders of this House, and they guide the implementation of those orders. Mr. Speaker, having said that, I will seek your leave under Order 3 for us to proceed to have my good self present the business statement for the consideration of the House and adoption to guide business next week.
Yes, honorable members, just for your guidance, the Speaker is the chairman of the Standing Orders Committee, and he is also the chairman of the Select Committee of Selection. There is good reason for that, because he is given the power to interpret and enforce the rules. Earlier on, I drew your attention to the various types of permutations that we could have as governance in this country. This Order 216 refers to leader of government business. The leader of government business does not necessarily mean the majority leader. And I'm sure you can recollect why. Now, we use leader of government business. But that decision is actually not taken by Parliament. That decision is taken by the government. The government decides who should lead government business in Parliament. So you can have a majority leader and another person, different person being leader of government business. So you are not referring to the individual. You are referring to the post, the position. There's good reason why in the ordinary committees you are not called upon to swear an oath when you constitute a committee. But I realize in the same standing orders, there are some committees that are called upon to swear an oath because of the nature of business. the mandate of the committees. In the case of the business committee, you are not called upon to swear an oath. This order 216 is referring to the position. So whoever occupies that position becomes the chairperson. It's ex officio. Becomes the chairperson of the committee. And so by virtue of the fact that Honorable Mahama Yarga is now the occupant of that position, even though I have not been given evidence from the government, I will take it that because the government has not objected to his being so, he is the leader of government business. And so he chairs the committee. Now, the other issue is if the person is not present at the meeting of the committee, can the person present the report of the committee? And my earlier ruling showed that yes, the person could present the report because it could be done by the authority or through the authority of the chairperson. And so I was drawing your attention to the fact that because of the failure of the deputy majority leader to seek my leave and to inform us that he's been authorized or mandated by the chairperson of the committee to do so for and on his behalf, he is not properly clothed to present the report. And that is why I call on any member of the committee present to do so. There should be sufficient guide to the House. We don't need to amend any report. We just need to go by this. And I think we should take it as sufficient guidance. If in the course of the application of the rules there's any other problem, we'll definitely handle it when we get there. In the meantime, I will permit the leader of the government business to present the report, and then we can go through it together.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is the business statement for the third week. And
please, since you people have taken all my time, there's been a delegation waiting for over 30 minutes. But since you people are interested in jurisprudence, it's good. It's good for the edification, particularly of a new parliament. That's why I permitted it. But I'll hand over to the second deputy speaker to take the chair. Second deputy speaker will take the chair accordingly.
Yes, Honorable Leader of the House, and I assume you are the Leader of Government Business. So let's hear you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. This is the report of the Business Committee on the business statement for the third week ending Friday, 31st January 2025. Mr. Speaker, the committee met and it was agreed that next week there may be formal communications by the Right Honourable Speaker that Ministers of State may be permitted to make statements on government policy pursuant to our various orders, that honourable members may make statements pursuant to Order 93 that we also will urge the Committee of Selection to expedite the process of the composition of the various committees so that business can commence with dispatch in the various committees. Papers may be laid during the week in accordance with Order 97. Mr. Speaker, the motions may be debated and their consequential resolutions taken during the week. And we propose to have a joint caucus meeting on Tuesday, 28 January 2025 to discuss pertinent issues of concern to honorable members. Mr. Speaker, in accordance with Order 2162 and subject to Order 67 of the Standing Orders, the committee submits this report to this House for approval, adoption approval.
Thank you very much. Honourable members, the business statement for the ensuing week has been read to us by the Leader of Government Business. It is now before the House for consideration. If there's anything any member would like to raise with respect to the business statement, the floor is open now. Yes, Leader of Minority.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, the Majority Leader and Leader of Government Business has rightly presented to us the business for the ensuing week. We are grateful to him for honoring that duty. However, Mr. Speaker, you may recall that his predecessor, Dr. Kasiel Atoforsen, assured the House last week that the issue of violence related to the Abum North Parliamentary elections will be taken up. This side of the House had raised a serious protest on the way and manner the Electoral Commission was being pounded by the NDC Greater Accra Regional Party. In fact, Mr. Speaker, the NDC Regional Party, led by its regional organizer, led some party members to attack the EC Coalition Center. And the EC issued a public statement to condemn the act and pleaded with the police to intervene to protect them. Mr. Speaker, this was the basis of the protest we raised. Mr. Speaker, when business statements are read, it is the responsibility of any member of this House to raise a matter of national interest for the Leader of Government Business to ferry same to government for address. It was on that basis that Dr. Kasiel Atoforsen assured the House, Dr. Kasiel Atoforsen assured the House that he will take steps to address the matter. Mr. Speaker, as we speak, the EC has not received the necessary protection from the Elections Security Task Force to enable it conclude the collation and final declaration of Abum North parliamentary elections. Mr. Speaker, the Electoral Commission complained of threat to the lives of its staff. The Electoral Commission complained of destruction of its properties. I would want my respected colleague who has just come to take steps in ensuring that Dr. Dampari, the IGP, who is the head of the Election Security Task Force, is able to provide sufficient security to enable the EC undertake its constitutional mandate. Mr. Speaker, we raise this as a serious democratic matter because it is a blot on our otherwise peaceful democracy. This is supposed to be a 276-member chamber. We are 275. The people of Ablekuma need a representation, and government must take steps in ensuring that the Electoral Commission declares. Thank you.
No business. Take your hands off Ablekuma now.
members, the business statement as presented to us is hereby adopted. Yes, leader. Any directive? We have adopted the business statement.
things first. So what you're just seeing right now on the floor of Parliament is that the Deputy Speaker, second Deputy Speaker, has suspended proceedings for the next 30 minutes. And you can hear the minority side of Parliament shouting Ablekuma North, Ablekuma North, Ablekuma North. This is mainly due to the fact that they say that they are not going to allow government business to continue until something is done about the Ablekuma North collation. And if you can recollect, ever since the December 7 elections, there has not been a closure on the Ablekuma North election. Ekwia and Arabna are being contesting in that constituency. It's been over a month now since the election, and still there's no definite answer as to who is going to represent the Ablekuma North constituency right here in Parliament. And so instead of the 276 members of Parliament right here, government or Parliament is running with 275 members of Parliament. Earlier on the floor, you saw Mahama Yariga, who is the new majority leader representing the NDC side in Parliament, read the statement on government business. Right after we had Apenyo Marking raising concerns about the fact that till now, government has not provided any form of security for the Electoral Commission, who he says has complained bitterly about the lack of protection, enough protection for them during the collation of the Ablekuma North constituency election. And so you can see them still banging their books against the tables, tapping their hands against their tables, saying that until a definite answer is made by the Electoral Commission, a definite declaration is made on who would have won the election for the Ablekuma North constituency, they are not going to allow government business to continue. They are still shouting here. And although the second deputy speaker has suspended sitting for the next 30 minutes, the MPs are still right here in the chamber. The minority side still shouting at the top of their voices, no Ablekuma North, no government business. They are shouting they need a free. Everyone here is on their feet. The tension is getting higher and higher. And so it raises concern as to whether or not these MPs representing all 275 constituencies will allow government business to continue if the Ablekuma North constituency election is not finalized. That's the big question on our minds right now. For the minority leader, Appenyo Marking, the onus lies on the majority side and government to ensure that they provide the Electoral Commission with enough security so that the final collation of votes of the electorate of Ablekuma North constituency can be made, and a final declaration can be made on who really would have won the election for the Ablekuma North constituency. Still loud chants from the minority here on the floor of Parliament, calling for Ekia Efriye to be declared winner. And of course, we are well aware that the NDC side is not having any of that. They also want their candidate, Irabna Obing, to be declared winner. But it seems they're a bit more calmer on their side. Clearly, they would wish for government business to continue. Currently, we can see the now majority chief whip, Roxanne Nelson Eche Dapia Mepo, calling on his members to kindly be seated. And that is being done on the side of the minority as well. Their chief whip calling on them to also have a seat so that proceedings can continue. But they are not allowing that. Some MP shouted, Jens Nasse, to wait, we will not sit down. It's an interesting scene right here on the floor of Parliament. It does not seem that some members of the minority side are willing to take their seats. They're still standing. They say they will not sit. They will not sit until the Ablekuma North election results are collated and a winner declared on behalf of the constituency. Right now I can see the Clerk of Parliament and the former Defence Minister Dominic Ayine trying to calm his members down so that they can take their seat. They are not having any of that. They are not ready to sit, and they are not ready to continue government business until the Ablekuma North election is finally collated and results declared. Unfortunately, it seems that Dominic might have succeeded in calming some of his members down. But we are still waiting to see if all the members on the minority side will indeed take their seat. And as you can see, the camera panning to the majority side, you can see them seated calmly, a few of them standing up, trying to urge the minority to also take their seats. A bit of calm being restored right here on the floor of Parliament. And as I said earlier, if you are just joining, we are right here on the floor of Parliament where, of course, the business statement, government business statement was read earlier by the now majority leader, Mahama Ayariga. And as I said earlier, Minority Leader Penyo Marking raised concerns about the lack of completion of the Abum North electoral process. As we know, it's been over a month since the December 7 election was held in all constituencies, but till today, the Abum North constituency has not been finalized and results have not been declared. This is the issue being raised by the minority. For them, they say the EC has not been provided with enough protection by the Ghana Police Service. They're urging government and the majority to see to that. And if they do not do that, government business shall not continue. Will they change their minds? Will they allow government business to continue? We're yet to find out. But for now, you can clearly see that a bit of calm is being restored on the floor of Parliament, especially on the minority side. Most of them finally taking their seats. Earlier, we saw former Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwu trying to urge members on his side to calm down and take their seats for proceedings to continue. It seems most of them have heeded to that. Others have walked out. But yes, it looks like calm will be restored any moment from now and proceedings might continue. I have seen Stephen Amwa, popularly known as Sticker, walking out. Will he return? We're yet to know. It looks like tension is once again arising. Minority members once again rising from their seats, angry and still shouting, "No Ablekuma, no vote. No Ablekuma North, no government business," I mean. And as I told you earlier, MP for Nshire, so Stephen Amwa, popularly known as Sticker, had walked out in anger, but it seems he's back. Right now he's come for his bag, and if you can see in the shot, he is walking out in anger, being urged by the minority chief whip to kindly come back and take his seat. But it doesn't look like he's having any of that. He seems very angry. He is still walking out with his bag. And so he just came back onto the floor for his bag. And now he has walked out. We can see another MP on the minority side shouting, "Without collation, no business." For now, it is yet to be seen whether or not proceedings will continue. But as we know now, the second Deputy Speaker has suspended proceedings for the next 30 minutes. 2 days ago, a similar situation happened, but it didn't take 30 minutes for the second Deputy Speaker to come back. We're still awaiting here on the floor for members on both the minority and majority to calm down so that proceedings can continue. One MP on the floor shouting, "Mutala, go and start collation now." It's an interesting scene here, though. And now you can hear them loudly still shouting, "No Ablekuma, no business." We know the Ablekuma North constituency collation process has stalled for over a month. As to when they are going to bring finality to the matter on the collation of results in the Ablekuma North constituency, we are yet to find out. But it seems that the minority will not allow government business to continue until collation is finalized in Ablekuma North. But as we also know, as regards to the numbers on both sides, can the minority really stop government business from continuing with their numbers? Well, that's a bit of an issue of contention. You can hear them shouting, "Start collation now, no collation, no business. We need a QFE," of course, coming from members on the minority side of the House. The chants are getting louder. They are shouting, "Oh yeah, if you baba," to wait. Whatever you do, if would come. Louder chants right here on the floor of Parliament from the minority side. see the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament. He's just walked out. He just walked out in anger. And we know that he is the chairman of the Appointments Committee. Clearly, they will have to approve right here on the floor a number of ministers or minister designates who have already been vetted by the Appointments Committee. But with this delay and with...
Minority side has managed to get business of the House suspended because of the Abum North's lack of electoral results situation. But it's also because, Joseph, it's also because the majority side does not have the numbers they thought they would have to do their business.
I mean, it was very obvious that it was going to come down to a numbers argument, and there was always a potential that the minority side were not going to allow it to be easy for the majority side. It all started with that big discussion that they had about who should be allowed to even present the business statement. And Frank Anodompe did make the application. The Speaker initially agreed. Eventually, the back and forth, some consensus was reached, and they allowed that to proceed. And if you recall, Alexander Fenyamaki, the minority leader, when he came in and monitored the argument that was taking place, he did serve notice that if the majority side were not careful and they decided to go down the path of debate that he thought they were heading towards, he did indicate that it will mean that they will have no choice but to insist on the right thing being done. And once he noticed, he said that the whip was sitting uncomfortably. He said the NDC whip, the majority whip was sitting uncomfortably instead of going around to ensure that he gets his members into the chamber to make sure that they have enough numbers to transact business. And all of this has to be put in the context of the fact that there's a swearing in that we understand will take place later today. And so far, they've done one swearing in. They've been able to swear in 6 ministers
6 people
so far. So we understand that the expectation or hope is that the other reports that is outstanding would have been taken so that all those who have been vetted so far would all be sworn in and blocked. Then that will mean that next week, whichever vetting takes place will also continue. In fact, Alexander Fenyamaki did indicate on the floor that they agreed to vet Muntaka Mubarak just for some reasons. And our understanding is that it's also connected to that swearing that is expected to take place today, because he's the only one who was vetted today. Initially, there were a number of regional ministers that had been penned down that were supposed to be vetted today. All those ones were moved to next week to allow him to vet. So, I mean, it's not a big deal. Unfortunately for the NDC side, the majority side, the government side, they had the second deputy speaker in the chair. And that potentially may have explained why the decision was again taken to suspend. Because we know that in the
I think he took that decision out of frustration. Again, when you look at how he tried to manage the situation, he failed at getting the minority side to come to order. I mean, if you're frustrated by the chance and their, the non-adherence to the orders being given, I think the best option then, well, maybe not the best option, but the only option then available to him was to suspend the House.
Yes.
Very, very little to do with where he belongs in the House.
I mean, to an extent that maybe, because I'm thinking, because if you saw the earlier disagreement, with the Speaker himself in the chair, he was able to come out with a clear path on what he wanted to do. I do not think that the second deputy speaker may have had, because there were two things he could have done. I mean, decided that, well, was he going to grant the request of the MPP side and agent till they have clarity on Abum North? I don't think he could have taken that decision.
Yeah.
What would he do? Maybe he's taking the decision as well, let's go for a break and let him consult further and see. And that comes back to the point again, where are the NDC MPs? And it comes back to that
question.
Issue. Because Fenyamaki, way back, when once they took over, he had made a point quite forcefully that he knows that it will get to the point that we're going to have problems. And if we look at the numbers closely, they shouldn't be having these problems very late in the day.
But what do the numbers look like? Again, we're trying to answer the question, where are they? Is the Afutu MP right when he said that the appointments will lessen the numbers they have in the House? What do the numbers look like right now?
I mean, they are not significant. And so if you look at the appointments that they've made so far in terms of the ministerial nominees. I mean, he's done 60 of them. He said he's going to do 60. And he's done 42 so far. And out of the 42, we know that 7 of them are women, with the remaining 35 being men. And so that is the number so far. In terms of the numbers that are coming from Parliament, we know that in terms of those coming from Parliament, we have just 23 coming from Parliament. And so that shouldn't be a problem. So 23 of the 42 are members of Parliament. And they have, at least we are looking at 183, 184, depending on how you want to look at it. And so this shouldn't be a problem at all. Ideally, most of them should be present in the chamber. It comes back to the point about the fact that, well, there could be potentially something that has to do with what is happening going forward. And when we go a step further, you see that the breakdown that we have here, we know that there are 16 regional ministers. The appointees who have been assigned substantive ministries are 23. We know that the president, by executive instrument, set up 23 ministries. Then the appointees designated only as ministers of state are 3. Now, this is where the problem may be. Going forward, there are 18 more appointments to be made. And so there is the suspicion, and Afenyo Markin had made a point forcefully, that look, a good number of them are lobbying. They are trying to catch the eye of the president, because out of these 18, remember, because he has done 23, he's supposed to do at least 31 from Parliament. The constitutional injunction says majority be appointed from Parliament.
Right.
And so a significant number of the 18 would also have to come from Parliament as well, in order to ensure that they add on to the 23 to reach at least 31. And so potentially that may be what they may be up to. But the fact of the matter is that the NDC has the numbers to do whatever they want to do at any point in time.
At this time.
At this time.
At this time. So, I mean, when we look at the 23 we have now, we have 18 more appointments to be made. And so for the president to be able to make the minimum majority of 31, it would have to appoint 8 more people from that 18 number. We add the 8 to the 23, that's 31. We take that from the 183 or 184 the majority side has now. What are we getting? We're getting about 140 something? 149, 150, thereabout. But these are still good numbers, aren't they?
I mean, they are good numbers, but they are not enough numbers such that ideally should be... That's why it comes back to the point again that what was the game plan? And I mean, we can just go back a step further into history, and we all agree that these are challenges that the NPP had when they were in government. But the NPP's challenge was mainly because the numbers were very close, because at that point it was 137 with 1 independent candidate. But the NDC at every turn, they were playing a long game. They could foresee what was going to happen. They could predict what was going to happen. They could decide that, okay, this time around we're going to work out, when they check the numbers and realize that, look, they do not have enough numbers to transact business. They do not have enough numbers to vote on their own. We're going to step out. So it comes back again to the coordination and the planning. And you see quite clearly that even with the placards alone, it tells you that the MPP side were clearing their minds what they wanted to do today.
Today, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And when you look at the 152, 151 number, depending on the math that we have just done, the question again will be that majority side, and perhaps if our cameraman is listening, could pan to that side, that majority side, where are the rest of them? You know, because it's still not 152 or 151 on that side. Why are they not there? Where are they? Because only 23 of you have been appointed. Only 6 of you have got, you know, have been sworn in. Have been sworn in. 6 others have got approval. Approval does not stop you from going to Parliament. So where are the rest of them? Why is the majority side not as full as the minority side? I mean, I don't get it. Perhaps we should have a conversation about that going forward.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, I mean, we have to, and I mean, it's just with a point about the comfortable majority. But let's look at the demands the NPP is making as well. I mean, the practicality of that demand. I mean, the EC, at last counts, at least 7 times, they've tried to come to some conclusion on Abum North, and I do not know the extent to which, if there is any involvement of government that one could slightly point to, it may be the challenge that the EC has complained at times about the fact that the police were not providing security to enable them to do what they wanted to do. We know that there was one of the occasions where they tried. Some individuals came over to the EC offices, they vandalized the place. The EC had to call off that particular exercise. Now, is there a request that police arrangements should be made available? That's one. Then number 2 is that, does the EC have enough to now proceed to declare? Because the EC had on its own, at a point, come to the conclusion that there were some of the polling centers that they could simply not even agree or say for certain who had won at those particular polling stations. In fact, we even had returning officers, presiding officers come and say that they've been given documents that they could not validate. So they couldn't, for a fact, confirm. But the EC nonetheless had admitted those documents and were going to proceed. And so the request that the NPP is asking, definitely, I do not think substantively it is the aim that they are seeking to achieve. I think this is a minority that have been variously described as a mini or whatever minority, determined to exact their pound of flesh this early in the day to make the point that, look, you're not going to have an easy ride. And I think the minority that has constantly made that point that even in the very first parliament when they joined in 96, they were not significant. And that parliament held the government to account. And he says they were going to draw from that past to tell the government that if you are going to decide that because you have 184, and that potentially could what's accounting for people not showing up, because everyone thinks that, well, it's a Friday. I mean, if I don't go, others are going to go. I was surprised to see Muntaka on the floor.
After his vetting?
Yes.
Well, he's doing his job, isn't he?
Yeah, but that tells you the commitment, because he had made the point that during the vetting, when we were concluding, the minority leader who is ranking on the appointments committee had said that they wanted to wrap up the vetting so that he could go to the mosque. I do not know whether he went to the mosque and he's come back to the chamber. But that's the level of commitment that everyone expects the members of parliament generally to exhibit.
To have, indeed.
And, I mean, we don't know the reasons why they are not there in their numbers, but what we do know for now is that the House has been virtually forced to come to a halt.
To come to a halt,
and
yes.
Ideally, they could have easily adjourned to next week, but we also know that they are trying to clear outstanding business to enable them come back for the story.
But this tactic the minority has employed, I have a bit of a problem with it, because one, the position that then now looks like it is the NDC that is stopping the process. But the NDC, on the other hand, appears to, or tells us that they have no hand in what is going on there. The Electoral Commission, like you explained, needs to do the right thing. And so this holding government business to ransom when the government is not directly involved in the Electoral Commission's business appears to be just a show of power, because the majority MPs decided not to come to Parliament. But really, what is it meant to achieve? What is this saying? Would the NDC then tell the Electoral Commission, go ahead and announce the results? I mean, it's just dragging us back without necessarily providing a result to the Abum North, stalemate, so to speak, that we have at the moment. I don't know what the minority side is good. It's nice. It's good politics.
I think it's simple. They are just flexing the muscle. That's the whole point. I mean, that's what they are doing.
To what end?
Because practically, the demands they are making, if they need those demands to be met before they approve the appointments committee report, which was the next item they were going to take, that cannot be done today. Because the EC itself, I don't think the EC itself is ready today to proceed, even though at the last occasion, the EC did indicate that they had completed their work. But the next time when they tried again, the place was attacked. And so we do not know even what the next line of action will be. Are they going to just do a declaration or not? Who has won? No one knows. So really, I don't think there's much in it for the NPP directly than...
Or the NDC. I mean, there isn't much in it for the NDC to do as well.
Yeah, but in terms of who is losing and who is gaining, if the business is suspended,
right,
that is the only way. No one gains directly, but the one who suffers now is the fact that, unfortunately,
it's the government of the day.
They can't get a clearance for, and we need to get it in the context that this is a president who has a 120-day promise, a litany of promises for 120 days, and the only way the president, John Dramani Mahama, can go to sleep comfortably is if he knows that he has men at post with a legal mandate, can sign, can begin. Because if you are, for instance, at the roads ministry or you are at education, I mean, your point really, you need to take the 120-page document and look at the things that fall within your mandate. You do not expect that the president from Jubilee House will be executing it. It is your work now. The promises that fall within your mandate. So you have to now decide how you are practicalizing it and achieving it and get it in motion. And that is how come they are trying to do things quickly to get a government in place. And if it delays further, it goes into some of the...
It goes to hurt government and perhaps even us in the process. Those of us who are, who make up members of the public. Because like I said before, I don't see how the NDC could go ahead and tell the Electoral Commission, announce the results. It is the POs who are saying, I don't know this. this document. And if they don't know this document, the Electoral Commission can't work with that document. And so, and again, let me not belabor the point, but what we see on the screen at the moment is the majority side, Joseph. And it would appear they are very quiet in their seats. Some of them are holding conversations. But look at the number of empty seats. Look at the number of empty seats. Even if you take out those who have walked over to their counterparts on the minority side, it's still quite obvious that too many seats are empty on the majority side.
Well, the numbers seem to have improved. I mean, during the debate when they were having the discussions on who should present the business statement and not, this was not a number. I mean, in fact, I've just seen one of their leaders in there. She was not...
Comfort Doyo.
Yes, she was not present when she was not present at the front bench.
At the time.
At the time. So I think the numbers have generally improved a bit. And I mean, it has gone up. I mean, the same thing, even for the MPP side, to be fair, even during that debate, yes, they were slightly more than the NDC side, but that was at the start of the debate. And in the course of the debate, the MPP numbers did go up.
Well, when you have an agenda to execute,
I mean, you know what you're going to do.
You have to put your steps right. Yeah, so I guess that's what happened with the minority side.
Yes, but the numbers are improving now. And so, I mean, I think once sitting officially resumes, I think the NDC should be able to have enough numbers to follow through, to allow the process to continue in terms of the business that they would have to deal with. And I mean, it's one of those days, it's a Friday. Mostly Fridays, they sort out the hearings quickly and the parliamentary sitting. And I mean, just even looking at the other paper that was advertised today. So the main issues, they dealt with the normal roll call that they do, the messages from the president. We know that they dealt with the issue of the president going on the trip.
On trips, yeah.
The country and the vice president being a president within that period. They undertook the correction of votes and minutes and official report. It's the business statement for the third week that delayed a bit, resulting in the main concern being the fact that, look, the committee that puts together that particular report is constituted by, it includes the majority leader and leader of government business. And the argument was made that, look, because Dr. Kasiola Tuforsen, the finance minister now, who was part of that particular committee when it was constituted, it meant that it had to be reconstituted, and that had not been done formally. So there was a lot of back and forth about who should present the business statement. Eventually, that was resolved, and now the MPP decided to do what they wanted to do there. So there's other motions that ought to be taken, two motions actually. So there's the adoption of the fifth report of the Appointments Committee on His Excellency the President nominations for appointment as ministers. Then there's also the adoption of the report of the leadership on the formula for composition of parliamentary delegations and other parliamentary groups and associations. And so those are the two outstanding matters that also ought to be dealt with. And that is how come we are connecting the issue about the Appointments Committee report to the swearing in that from our sources we understand will take place later today.
I mean, ironically, the Speaker at the beginning of his address to the House talked about absenteeism and attrition rates. And then, you know, for this to happen shortly after he has ceded the seat to the second deputy speaker, it's very, very interesting and very fascinating, so to speak, because, you know, the irony of that you talk about that at the beginning of your address to the House, and then this is what, you know, happens stemming on the back that some people were not in Parliament. But, you know, do the math for me. Okay. Even if the numbers have bloated a little bit on the majority side, they alone can't do business if the minority decide not to sit in, can they?
It depends. I mean, the last time when we were, so if they cross because just for the normal current business, they can just cross the 1/3 easily. I mean, it's when the decision, that's when they have to at least reach the half number. And if we do, I mean, the simple math of that, then that could potentially mean that they would have to inch closer to their full number, or they would have to get at least someone from the MPP side to join. And that is how come initially when the whole back and forth started, I was actually suspecting that the MPP MPs may walk out of the chamber. That was what I thought initially, but they didn't do that. So they decided to stay on. And realizing that maybe they will push for it to come down to a vote, in which case, whatever matter they are voting on, they could have the upper hand. But really, what is the controversy? Because this is an appointment committee report that we know that, I mean, for the very first time in a long while, I mean, if you pick the previous administration, there were instances where some individuals were approved by majority decision. I mean, so far, the reports that the appointment committee has churned out so far is by unanimous decision. It means that the minority has not at any point registered their decision not to approve anyone that has appeared before it. We do not get a sense that the report that is supposed to be presented, we don't think that there is any concern from the MPP side about some individual that they think should not be approved. And so really, the content of the report is not an issue.
It's not an issue.
It's not an issue. And so this is a matter that I'm sure in a couple of minutes when they reconvene, the numbers have generally improved. They should be able to reach some agreement and proceed. And I mean, it comes back to the entire discussion about why it is important for the parties to always keep Parliament to be strong. Beyond the number game, it also sometimes comes down to the force of the arguments that will take place as well. And that is how come the Speaker, even though he admits that, well, attrition is a problem, makes the point that, look, people also have to go for people to come in and people have to learn and people have to go. Because all of those things are very important, and it will come down to the debate sometimes on the floor. And interestingly, when the debate was taking place on the question of who should present the report of the business committee, Muntaka Mubarak actually agreed with the Nsauma Dwejiri MP, Frank Anodompre. He disagreed with his leader, Mahama Yariga, during the argument. He disagreed with him. And so that comes back to the point that, well, some of these debates may substantively be about principles that ought to be espoused, but ideally the Speaker was able to reach some consensus and
that's true. Let's go back to Parliament and hear some sounds from there. Perhaps the chanting has ended, but let's take a listen.
So you're still right here on the floor of Parliament, and as we described earlier, the minority side had concerns about the Ablekuma North constituency results and the fact that the EC had made complaints that they were being harassed by members of the National Democratic Congress. And so, right after the minority leader, Appenyo Marking, made that statement, all other members on the minority side stood to their feet holding placards, papers with inscriptions on it about the Ablekuma North constituency, calling for the collation exercise in the constituency to be finalized, and if not, they were not going to allow government business to continue. And as you know, before that happened, the majority leader, Mahama Yariga, on the floor of Parliament, read the statement on government business. And right after, the minority side began chanting, "No Ablekuma North, no government business." Right now you can see the chief whip for the minority side gathering members on the minority to one side. We do not know what they are talking about. But interestingly, I can see amongst them Stephen Amwa, MP for Nshia, who had earlier walked out of the chamber in anger with his bag, not too enthused about the fact that the chief whip for the minority side had asked them to calm down and take their seats. And so now it seems they're having a small meeting within the chamber, probably discussing their next line of action when the second deputy speaker walks back. Earlier, he had suspended proceedings for 30 minutes. And we're yet to see really what would happen after the second deputy speaker retakes his seat. Would proceedings continue? Would the minority still call for a halt of proceedings or government business until Abum North is collated? We're yet to find out, but as you can see in that shot, members of the minority side have gathered. Receiving a word from one of their leaders as to really what will be their next line of action. But just so you know, the second deputy speaker had earlier stated that the House was going to be suspended for 30 minutes. As at about 3:15 p.m., proceedings were suspended. It's now 4:04. It means we've done in excess of 30 minutes, and still the second deputy speaker is not back on the floor of Parliament. As to why, we do not know for now. But right here, you can clearly see that quite a number of MPs have taken their leave, both from the majority and minority sides of the House. It seems the meeting, I can hear one of the MPs shouting, "Yebesaya, sorry," meaning that we'll once again stand up. As to whether that means that when proceedings continue or when the second deputy speaker takes his seat for proceedings to continue, whether they're going to stand up once again and shout "No Abum no vote," we're yet to find out. But as I've said, we've spent in excess of 30 minutes on suspension right here on the floor of Parliament, and we are waiting the second deputy speaker to once again take his seat for proceedings to continue. Interesting scenes here on the floor of Parliament. The minority chief whip, Arnold Dompre, once again in Parliament. He's about to take his seat. You can also see Kwame Pleasant shot. exchanging pleasantries with other members of parliament. And we know that he won the Gomwa Central seat as an independent candidate. But he's decided to do business with the majority being the NDC. And for those of you who are just joining us right here on TV3, we are live here on the floor of Parliament, which proceedings has been suspended. Be suspended for 30 minutes. We've done in excess of 40 minutes still here on the floor of Parliament. What happened earlier after the majority leader, now majority leader, Mahama Yariga, read the statement in the House on government business. An objection was raised by the minority leader, Abum North, mainly on the issue of the Abum North constituency collation and elections. And if you've been following us here on your election command center, you'd know that ever since the December 7 election, the Abum North constituency still does not have a member of parliament. And even though Parliament has reconvened with a fresh new set of MPs, the Abum North constituency is not being represented as of yet. And so we are seeing 275 members of Parliament being represented here on the floor as against the 276 number, which should be the case. And so the objection from the minority leader, Abum North, was that until collation was done for the Abum North constituency and until protection was given to the Electoral Commission to prevent the abuse, they are not going to allow government business to continue. As of now, it's 4:10 and the Speaker, second Deputy Speaker, has once again walked into Parliament. And so we're going to connect you back to proceedings, and we're yet to know really what will be the next line of action for the minority. You can already hear them standing and shouting. They were about to shout Abum North, and then their leaders have told them to kindly take their seats for proceedings to continue. Will they once again stand? Well, we're here to find out. Let's cross over.
Leadership, we have met, we have taken into consideration all the issues. So let me invite the majority leader and the minority leader to confirm the discussion we've had so that we can move on smoothly. So minority leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as you rightly said, we've had some engagement on the way forward in this chamber. And we've agreed that the outstanding business for today must.
Well, I want to take you across the regions. What we're hearing now is that some of the MPs who are missing in Parliament are on a thank you tour with the President, John Dramani Mahama. He's speaking now to an audience in the Volta region. Let's join in.
It's always been a beacon of support for the National Democratic Congress, my party, and indeed myself, and has been a stronghold for Ghana's democratic progress since 1992. Your immense contribution to the success of our party and my election as President of the Republic of Ghana is a testament to the strength of the bond that exists between us. We cannot talk about Ghana's progress without acknowledging the vital role that the Volta region has played in shaping the course of our history. However, we also acknowledge your challenges. Years of neglect and alienation from the development of our country due to your political choices. But I stand here today to tell you that this narrative will change. My visit this afternoon signals my commitment to ensuring that the Volta region receives its fair share of national development. Our objective to reset Ghana begins here in the Volta region. Together, we will work to correct past wrongs and work towards a future where every Ghanaian feels included and valued, regardless of your region of origin, your ethnicity, your religion, or your political affiliation. Since assuming office, we have wasted no time in taking bold steps to steer our dear nation back on course. After my swearing in on January 7, 2025, we immediately began implementing our agenda to reset Ghana. One of our first actions was to streamline the governmental structure by reducing the number of sector ministers from 30 to 23. By doing this, we have not only reduced bureaucracy, but also ensured that every ministry is aligned with the pressing needs of our people. This restructuring has allowed us to redirect resources towards critical areas such as education, healthcare, infrastructure, and local governance. For example, the newly restructured Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy, and Religious Affairs is designed to foster stronger collaboration between that ministry and our traditional leaders. We believe that leaders must play a greater role in the local governance of this country. We also believe that development is most effective when it is community-led, and who are better to guide us in this effort than our chiefs who have been custodians of our culture and our progress. I also recognize the anticipation of appointments from this region, and as was said, so far, so good. Let me assure you that your contributions and talents have not been overlooked. Appointments will be guided by principles of merit, competence, regional balance, gender equity, and availability to serve. I do not doubt that the people of Volta region possess the human resource and will play pivotal roles in shaping the future of our nation. The Volta region has long been a victim of unfulfilled promises. But as I said, I assure you that this era of neglect will end under this administration. Development, we're enjoined by the National Constitution to ensure the balanced development of all parts of our nation, Ghana, and we shall do just that. We've already begun by assessing key infrastructure needs in the region. The whole Denu Road, which is a lifeline for economic activity, will be a #1 priority. We understand how the poor conditions of roads has hindered trade, tourism, and mobility, and we are committed to addressing this challenge. Similarly, the whole airport, which is a vital asset for this region, will be revitalized. We will explore how to resume commercial aviation into the airport using smaller aircraft and developing the route. Yesterday, I met with the CEO of the Ghana Airports Company, and I gave her the go-ahead to allocate the land for the establishment of the pilot training school. Education and sports infrastructure would also receive attention. The Regional Youth Resource Center, which has been left to deteriorate, will be developed in order that our young people can develop their talents. In addition, we'll fulfill our promise to build modern prototype markets in the region, such as the one we have planned for Aflao, to empower local businesses and international trade with our eastern neighbor, Togo. During my campaign, 3 pressing concerns were brought to my attention: the sea defense project along the coast of the Volta region, the Keita Port project, and compensation for those affected by the spillage from the Akosombo and Pond dams. The sea defense project is not just an infrastructural project. It is a lifeline for our coastal communities that continue to suffer from sea erosion and flooding. We will ensure that this project is expedited in order to protect lives, livelihoods, and property. I've asked the newly appointed Minister of Transport to review the feasibility study on the Keita Port project and brief Cabinet as early as possible on the status of this project. We will also ensure that victims of the Akosombo Dam spillage are adequately compensated and that measures are taken to prevent such disasters in the future. We all know that we are in a period of economic crisis, and fiscal room for massive infrastructural development is very limited. However, we intend to use innovative means of financing, including the use of SPVs, those are special purpose vehicles, BOTs, build, operate, and transfer schemes, escrows, and debt service accounts to achieve our priority infrastructure investment and programs, especially as contained in our manifesto promise, the Big Push. The Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, which I created, will lead this project in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance. Volta region is not a mineral resource-rich region, but that is also a blessing in disguise. Volta region probably has some of the most unspoiled natural vegetation in the country, unlike many other regions that have been scarred by the illegal mining menace. Volta region also arguably has the cleanest rivers and streams that have not been affected by pollution. The air is fresh and healthy for human existence. Tourism is therefore a very viable prospect for prosperity. And your own daughter, Abla Jifa Gomashi, will work to improve the tourist sites in the Volta region. In the road sector, our own son, the Honorable Governs Agboja, will prioritize the completion and rehabilitation of our road network in the region. Key roads to be targeted would include, but not limited to, the Eastern Corridor Road. We intend to finish the parts of the Eastern Corridor Road that have not been engineered. As I said earlier, we'll reconstruct the Denu Road. We'll complete the Have to Hohoi section of the Eastern Corridor. We'll put an overlay over the Dodo-Pepesu to Nkwanta section, and then also finish the Nkwanta to Kwasa section. We also intend to construct the Dambai Bridge and re-engineer the road from through Raura all the way through Kwando. Under education, we'll complete the E-blocks that we started that have been abandoned in the region. We'll develop the infrastructure of the University of Health and Allied Sciences into a first-class tertiary institution. Our Agric College at Ohau would also see improvement in infrastructure and upgrading into a tertiary institution. Under healthcare, we intend to upgrade the whole hospital into a proper teaching hospital. Under water, we intend to expand the Kweve and Adidome water projects so that we can provide clean drinking water to the Adaklu area and much of whole Central. Our focus is also on agriculture and livelihoods. And as you know, I said that agriculture and agribusiness is going to be a #1 priority of this government. And I assure you that Volta region will receive its fair share. One project we target is the Volta Palm Initiative. This is a private initiative that has begun already, but government is going to provide resources to expand it so that Volta region can become the center of oil palm production and processing into vegetable cooking oil. We're going to support the rice farmers in Apipe and other parts of the Volta region with equipment and capital to expand their rice production. We'll also provide them with processing capacity to be able to produce a Volta brand of rice for the domestic market in order to reduce our imports. Areas in OT and parts of northern Volta that produce ginger would have processing plants to produce ginger powder, ginger oil, and others for exports. The Tong area, which is a center for cassava production, will also receive a cassava processing plant to process cassava into various useful items. In my first term in office, we deliberately set out to increase cocoa production in the Volta region. And we established several seedling banks to provide free seedlings and extension services to young people who wish to go into cocoa farming. Since we left office, that project has not been pursued. I want to assure you that we're going to start it again, expand cocoa production so that Volta region will become one of the producers of cocoa in Ghana. Togbiwo Mamao, the road ahead will not be easy, and I don't underestimate the task ahead of us. But we can build the Ghana that we all want together. And therefore, let us rise above our divisions and work hand in hand to create a nation where every Ghanaian has the opportunity to thrive. Our differences must be a strength and not a weakness. The Volta region has always been a beacon of hope, and I'm confident that with your continued support, we will achieve great things. Let us move forward with unity and determination, and I believe that the future of our nation is bright. May God bless our homeland Ghana and make our nation great and strong, and I thank you for your kind attention. Akpenami.
Shall we give a big round of applause to His Excellency for his address to the nation? May I humbly invite Honorable Emmanuel Kwasi Bejira, the chairman of the Volta MP caucus in Parliament,
President John Dramani Mahama there on his thank you tour of the Volta region. Now we can take you back to Parliament, where we know that the House has reconvened. The Speaker has brought the matter back onto the floor. It's being discussed whether or not to move forward. I think that decision has been taken. We missed it. Now the report from the Business Committee and the Appointments Committee are to be put before the floor. Let's take a listen.
And Mr. Speaker, it must be on record that there is nothing on our screen. There is no report on our screen. So it's not accurate when the minority whip says that we have the report. What we have here is just the order paper, the business statement, and nothing more. So if we are supporting a motion, to what? We don't have copies.
I believe now we have enough report. Yes, Honorable Patrick Boama.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second the motion to support for the adoption of the report of the Appointments Committee on the present appointment of the following: Mr. Ali Adolf as the Minister Designate for the Northern Region, Mr. John Kwejo Japon for the Oti regions, James Gunu for the Volta region, and Rita Akosia Awate for the Eastern region. Mr. Speaker,
Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I believed when the procedure is set down, we need to follow the procedure. I have moved the motion. I present the committee's report before they come in to second and then support the adoption of the report. So, Mr. Speaker, may I be permitted to present the report?
Go ahead. I thought you've done that.
Very well. Mr. Speaker, with the permission to move the motion jointly, I will then move to present the report also jointly. The fifth and the sixth reports jointly. Mr. Speaker, the fifth report is on His Excellency the President's nomination for appointment as ministers. The following people: Mr. Ali Adolf John as Minister for Northern Region, Mr. John Kwejo Japon as Minister for Oti Region, Honorable James Gunu as Minister for Volta Region, Ms. Rita Akosua Awate as Minister for Eastern Region. Mr. Speaker, the sixth report is on Honorable Mubarak Muntaka as Minister Designate for Interior. Mr. Speaker, following the referral to the Appointment Committee, the committee met and considered the nomination of those above mentioned. Mr. Speaker, at the committee meeting regarding Mr. Ali Adolf John, the following questions were posed and answers were provided. Mr. Speaker, there was question on addressing the issue of KIA headquarters and rural urban migration. There was also questions on initiatives to improve the economy and alleviate poverty among the youth of the northern region. Mr. Speaker, there was a question on enhancing irrigation for farms in the northern region, addressing post-harvest losses, addressing issues relating to witchcraft camp in the northern region. Questions were posed to him on promoting peace and harmony among the tribes in the northern region, how he's going to address the social amenity challenges in the northern region, and Mr. Speaker, many more questions were posed to him. Mr. Speaker, the next person to appear before the committee was Mr. John Kojo Japon. Mr. Speaker, questions regarding the role of regional minister, youth empowerment through agro-business, uplifting agriculture in the region, addressing conflict in Nkwanta town, improving connectivity in the OT region, managing the cultural diversity in the region, among others, were posed to him. Mr. Speaker, Honorable James Gunu for Volta region was asked the following questions. Alleged politically motivated attack on honorable members of parliament, ensuring safety and security in the region, protecting the region's coastal belts and addressing tidal waves, promoting tourism in the region, boosting internally generated funds, IGF, in the district assemblies, addressing complaints on fund management between DCEs and MPs, among others, were asked. Mr. Speaker, the questions posed to Ms. Rita Akosua Awate were as follows. Balancing PhD studies with ministerial responsibilities, collaborations with members of parliament and stakeholders, enhancing capital for MMDAs, addressing chieftaincy disputes in the eastern region, protecting river bodies in the eastern region regarding Galamsey, regulating sand winning activities in the eastern region, promoting tourism in the eastern region, reducing crime rates in the eastern region, among others, were posed. Mr. Speaker, I would urge the Hansard Department to capture the entire report, particularly the answers provided as having been read by me. Mr. Speaker, I will now move to the sixth report, which is on Honorable Mubarak Muntaka. Mr. Speaker, questions were posed regarding review of security services recruitment by the prior administration, the quota system of recruitment on regional basis, enhancing professionalism in security agencies, addressing promotion processes and posting in the security agencies, measures to address small arms proliferation in the country, addressing perception of transfer as punishment, ensuring non-partisanship within the security services, collaboration with the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy and Rural Affairs, leadership in the agencies under the Ministry of Interior, brutality of citizens in police custody, welfare issue of security agencies, stakeholder engagement to repose trust in the security agencies in Ghana, among others, were posed. Mr. Speaker, I will equally urge the Hansard Department to also capture the sixth report as having been read by me. Mr. Speaker, I will then proceed to put the conclusion of the two reports together and to inform the House that the committee proposed for consideration of this House by consensus that this House adopt the committee's report and approve the undermentioned minister designates as ministers for the respective ministries. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairman. Yes, let's now invite Honorable Patrick Boama to second the motion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to second the 5th and 6th reports of the Appointments Committee. Mr. Speaker, since they are consensus reports, I'll make some few comments on our colleague for Asawase, who is the Minister Designate for the Interior Ministry. Mr. Speaker, we all know the role of the Minister of Interior as being the chief custodian of our internal security. Underneath, you have a lot of security agencies that he controls, including the Narcotics Control Commission. Mr. Speaker, he answered questions satisfactorily on narcotics and the airline that he's supposed to bring to the House for approval for the implementation of the narcotics or the medicinal cannabis implementation under the Narcotics Control Act. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, our colleague also distinguished himself when asked questions about security around Boko, the proliferation of small arms, promotions into the security services, and some other related activities on NADMO. We believe as a House that we've worked with Honorable Muntaka, the member for Asawase. We know of his competence, we know of his passion for the job as a member of Parliament, both within and without, and we have no doubt as a House. And on our side, we thank the President for nominating him to serve in his cabinet, and we wish him the very best. On the 5th report, Mr. Speaker, I was just watching TV at the cafeteria, and I saw the Minister Designate for the Volta region with the President at home, and here we are debating a consensus report on him. I don't know in which capacity is there. Maybe he knows that he's got the numbers on his side to approve of him. I also saw Nabu Kodo, the former Prime Minister for the Western Togoland, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, that's just by the way. Mr. Speaker, they answered questions that straddles both regions, or all the 4 regions. Challenges that members of Parliament face with regional ministers, or regional ministers do face, are the fact that they don't have even budgetary allocations. They always rely on allocations made to them from the Office of the President. Challenges with their MMDCs who feel independent in the performance of their duties. And the challenges members of Parliament do have with MMDCs who are under his watch and control. They also answered questions on regional security, chieftaincy issues, land disputes, and what have you. And also their determination to see through the cultivation of local raw materials to support local industries. We urge the regional ministers to walk the talk and ensure that they perform in accordance with the functions that they've been bestowed upon by various legislations and the Constitution of this country. Mr. Speaker, not to belabor the point, I wish all the regional minister nominees the very best and success in their respective regions. I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, the 2 motions have been moved and they have been seconded. It is now before the House for consideration. Because today is Friday, we will restrict ourselves to 2 contributors from each side. 2. Then we come to leadership. And even with 2, we have to work around 5 minutes. Once you get the opportunity, please, your contribution should be around 5 minutes. So 2 from each side. The majority side have already given their list to me, but I think from minority side, I'll call from, yes, let me start from you, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. I rise to speak on the cease report of the Appointments Committee on His Excellency's, the President's nomination for appointment as Minister of Interior. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Muntaka has been a darling and an asset in this House and also for his constituents in Ashanti region as a whole. Honorable Muntaka is my neighbor, and then he borders the Kwabri East. And you have seen from his records in this House that he has excelled himself, even in Ashanti region, amongst where we see that he is in a den of lions, where he is in the midst of a lot of opposition MPs. But through it all, Honorable Muntaka has excelled in everything that he does and has been a beacon of light and hope for himself, for opposition, and for his compatriots as well. A particular mention where I would like the Honorable Minister to focus is on the security services. I think a lot has been said on the new recruits that went through the previous government, and a lot of people are sitting on tenterhooks as to their fate, even as now they are in training. And even as we know that government is a continuing business, I would like the Honorable Minister, when in office, to assure these people that they are all Ghanaians and they all deserve to be employed into the forces as well. On the subject of prison reforms, a lot of people, when they go back, when they return from prison, turn back hardened, more hardened than they were before they went into prison. And this happens when, the rehabilitation process in the prisons is not adequately done. And you see that 80% of people, return from prison and then they go back to prison. And I would like to implore and plead with the Honorable Minister that when he is in government, when he's confirmed, he should ensure that the rehabilitation process that goes in prisons are well done and well thought through before it goes. I would like to say and congratulate the Honorable Minister again for his nomination, and I know fairly well that this House will endorse him and confirm him as the next Minister of Interior. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Member for Kwabri East. So let me invite Honorable Ladi Ayi Ayamba. Honorable, you speak around 5 minutes.
Pardon me, Mr. Speaker.
5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will try as much as I can. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me thank His Excellency the President for the nominations that he has made to our regions and to the Ministry of Interior. I congratulate those ministers who have been nominated, and I want to just delve a bit into that of Northern region because of the issues there. I listened to him carefully, and the issue of Kaya, which has been always something that I have cherished to talk and listen to, came up. His response was very good, was excellent. And I just want to urge him that if he is listening to me, he should stand by it that he is going to ensure that we have jobs in our various regions to enable the youth, especially the women, the girl child, to stay back in the northern region, whichever part they come from, and work rather than come to Accra. And that we do not in any way wish that they come down to Accra thinking that because there are a few hostels that were built, they should leave home and then come here and carry goods. It's better they work at home. So you should stick to it. The issue of witchcraft, I have been to most of those camps when I was chairperson for gender. Mr. Speaker, it is not the best at all for the old women. People who simply cannot do anything for themselves. We should try as much as we can to work with the chiefs and elders and traditional rulers, others who are there, the queen mothers, to support them, because they find it difficult to go back to where they were brought from, to those camps. Mr. Speaker, the issue of chieftaincy problems, he said he would dialogue with them and he would talk and have some discussions, collaborate with them, the security services and what have you. It's becoming an eyesore and it's really pathetic. Some of us, when we sit and we listen to these things, it's quite worrying. This isn't how it was. Let us understand one another so that we can live together. Then we have a lady that is for Eastern Region. I congratulate her directly because she is one of us, the women. And I just want to say that she should work and work hard. She shouldn't relent on her effort. She should study and ensure that she is working as expected and shouldn't disappoint His Excellency John Dramani Mahama in the policies that are being put in place. She should work. She shouldn't let it be like, after all, we've given to a woman. That is what pains me. I'm hurt when I see that. It shouldn't be like a woman has also been given. No, she should work as much as she can, even work better than the men. Excuse me, I'm not against any man. Mr. Speaker, now I wish to talk a little too about Honorable Muntaka. Congratulations, my dear brother. You have worked hard. You deserve it. Your leadership roles have spelled it all out. I have been in this house with you for not less than 12 years, and I know how hard you have worked. I know how you have exhibited your skills. I remember and I recall when you had to lead us to ensure that at least while we were in opposition, we were still able to make sure that we had a speaker. Please continue fighting hard. Ensure that you do not think of sidelining. Don't sideline, but do the right thing. It's a very sensitive area. It's an area where if you are not careful, people will begin zooming in, and I think you know it better. Talking and saying whatever. Please ensure that you work hard. Ensure that your leadership skills are put out more, and make sure that you do the needful. The police service have always been out there. Always. We are always and always having issues. I will be grateful if you can ensure that you dialogue with them, work as team members, and ensure that their name is uplifted.
Thank you.
I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I wish Honorable Muntaka all the best. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Honorable. Let me give it to member for Tepa.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, thank you for giving me the opportunity. And I want to take this opportunity to congratulate Honorable Muntaka Mohamed Mubarak for his appointment. I know Honorable Muntaka is a very hard-working personality. His human relations to everybody is very good. You know how to relate to everybody, no matter your political party you belong to, and I wish him well. But Mr. Speaker, I want to draw Honorable Muntaka's attention to Act 927, which states, among others, that there shall be a National Disaster Management Fund. Why am I drawing his attention? Sometimes NADMO staffs go to disaster scenes and they are sometimes attacked. They are sometimes prevented from carrying out their normal duties. Why? Because in carrying out their response activities and doing need assessments, some people think after the need assessment there will be no relief items. and therefore they prevent them from doing so. But that is not the fault of the NADMO staff. It is as a result of financial problems, the late release of funds to NADMO. That is why those things happen. So I want to draw his attention that the Act talks about the source of funding to the National Disaster Fund, and that is through the 3% of District Assembly's Common Fund. So I'm appealing to him to look at it so that NADMO staff can carry on their preventive and reactive responsibilities without any hindrance. Mr. Speaker, the Mid-Country Immigration Training Institution in Ghana for Ghana Immigration Service is situated at Tepa in my constituency. The traditional authorities has released a big land to the National Immigration Service. I want to appeal to the Honorable Minister to help Ghana Immigration Service to secure funds to fence and protect the lands from encroachment. With this, I'm done. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Now, we turn to Zerula Ibrahim, Saga West, Saga South. 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for the opportunity to contribute to the motion considering the President's nominee, 4 for regional minister positions and 1 for the Interior Ministry. Mr. Speaker, the Northern Regional Minister designate, Honorable Adolf Ali, attended the vetting and acquitted himself creditably. Mr. Adolf demonstrated his deep knowledge about the region, the northern region, and the intricacies of balancing politics, religion, chieftaincy, and tribes and clans, and gave the committee the assurance that he was going to deploy his well-known and well-attested diplomatic skills to ensure that conflict in any part of the region will be eliminated. Mr. Speaker, for those of us who know Honorable Adolf at close range, we take his word, we know how serious-minded he is, and we know that he has the capability to deliver on his mandate. I can only wish him well. Mr. Speaker, on the Interior Minister designate, our leader, Honorable Muntaka Mubarak, equally acquitted himself very well before the vetting committee. And in addition to giving us responses that addressed a lot of technical issues within the Interior Ministry, he also spiced his responses with a lot of anecdotes that really brought home governance to the barest minimum for the understanding of the ordinary Ghanaian. Honorable Muntaka Mubarak, for those of us who entered this house in the 8th Parliament, demonstrated his leadership skills. He never went through the chamber without stopping by us at the back bench to check on how we were doing. He actually had the habit of always entering the chamber through the back bench. He would spend not less than 3 to 4 minutes talking to us, pepping us up, and encouraging us. For those of us who had the opportunity to serve with him on the Appointments Committee, Honorable Muntaka mentored us. He guided us. He told us the appropriateness of some questions and inappropriateness of other questions. I, for example, as a member of the then Appointments Committee, was told by Honorable Minister not to ask the then Minister Designate for Fisheries, Honorable Hawakumsen, a question. He told me the same thing when Honorable Nitiwo appeared before the committee. And when I asked why, he reminded me that Honorable Hawakumsen, I should remember that she was from my constituency. Honorable Nitiwo was my neighbor, and he would create confusion for me if I got on his wrong side. This is leadership. And today we can attest to how invaluable those advisors were. Mr. Speaker, for everyone who attended or watched Honorable Muntaka's vetting, there was one phrase that ran through, and I tried to count the number of times until I lost count. At every turn, he referred to the national interest. Everything for him is about the national interest. And I remember, as new entrants to this house, he reminded us to be guided by the national interest. And today it ran through almost all his responses. Indeed, the minority leader, Honorable Afenyomakin, had occasion to commend him for his sincerity and truthfulness. Honorable Muntaka showcased great knowledge in his ministry, a ministry that carries all the security agencies of this country, from the police to the fire service to the prison service to immigration.
Thank you.
He told us that he was going to ensure that these agencies were properly retooled. And I'm sure any MP who heard Honorable Muntaka will be relieved, because it gives assurance that he's going to take up the burden of these agencies running to MPs.
Thank you.
Seek
Thank you.
support and resources
Thank
for their agencies. Mr. Speaker, I congratulate all nominated ministers. I wish them all the best. And to Honorable Muntaka Mubarak, I said, Mungo de ma Allah.
Thank you very much. Now we turn to the leadership.
Mr. Speaker, on our part leadership, I will yield to Honorable Nyindam, except to add that under Order 63.1, the last comment of our sister should properly be interpreted for Hansa. If you look at Order 63.1, Mr. Speaker. So I yield to Honorable Nyindam for leadership.
Honorable Nyindam.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and thank leadership for the opportunity given to me to speak on their behalf. Let me use this opportunity to congratulate my boss, Honorable Muntaka, and let me place on record that he's the longest serving chief whip in Ghana's parliament. And it's not for nothing that he was vetted this morning. The House has to suspend its rules and to approve him the same day. It shows that he's demonstrated leadership as a chief whip. And those of us who happen to also serve as chief whip, we are very proud of him. Like others have said, you are going to a ministry that almost all security agencies are under you. I know you have what it takes to shepherd and to provide Ghanaians security both day and night. We know you are capable, and that is what we expect from you. Mr. Speaker, concerning small arms in the hands of individuals, I want the minister to take this issue very seriously. Because if you look at the just ended elections and previous elections, you will realize that even when men in uniform were not wielding arms, most of our foot soldiers who went to attack places were carrying arms. And this is a very dangerous thing. You must look at it because it is a recipe for disaster. One other thing I was expecting maybe to hear from my Honorable
Chief Whip has to do with members of Parliament. It is true that we have police. Every member of Parliament is entitled to police now. But unfortunately, in the night, it's a different thing altogether. So I want Honorable Minister to take a look at that issue, because the attacks first goes to members' houses. And I don't want to remind this House about the sad issues that happened to a colleague of ours here, where in his home, unfortunately, he lost his life. So I want to encourage him to look at it very well and try to see how best he can support security in that regard. Mr. Speaker, let me also use the opportunity to congratulate the regional ministers, the OT regional minister, the Northern regional minister, the Eastern regional minister, and then the Volta regional minister. I also want to urge the Northern regional minister especially, just like my colleague said, the witchcraft accusations. It is one of the serious issues in the northern part of Ghana, especially northern region, where unfortunately people have been moved away from their traditional homes. Families have been brutalized because one is suspected to be a witch or a wizard. These situations need much attention. I also want to urge the OT regional minister to take a critical look about the conflict in Nkwanta North, in Nkwanta itself, that is Nkwanta South. It is a very, very, very devastating issue. And I want to urge him not to sit down. He should look at that conflict very well, try as much as possible to bring peace to Nkwanta, so that the people in Nkwanta and its environs, including the OT region itself, can enjoy some kind of peace. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to congratulate the nominees. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much, Honorable Yindam. Now the majority leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to add my voice to the motion to approve the nominees for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Mr. Speaker, I will start with my boss, Honorable Muntaka. In fact, I have worked with him and I have never regretted. Because when I came in first to this chamber, he called and said, sit in the chamber at least 2 hours and learn. The chamber itself is a university of its own. If you can sit for just 2 hours in this chamber, you will learn a lot, because from archaeology to zoology passes through this chamber. And I took his advice and make sure every day I spend 2 hours in this chamber. Mr. Speaker, I spend more than 2 hours at least. Mr. Speaker, he has been sent to the Ministry of Interior. There is something that is missing, and I don't know how we will correct it. We have villages that don't have access to communication. They don't have network. So they apply, even if they require them to come to training or to come to the camp, they don't even get access to the information. And such villages are there, especially when you get to Ada, there is no network. A lot of the villages, my island communities, so a lot of them love to be in this security, but because there is no network, they are cut off. Minister, let's find a way so that everybody in Ghana will enjoy our security services. Mr. Speaker, one thing that baffles me a lot is whenever they are recruiting the people, there are general duties. Some of them are just going to arrest thieves. And they say they should bring masks. If If you are going to arrest thief, what does the arresting of thief got to do with math?
You do calculations.
Because when you see the thief, you are not going to work any mathematics there before you arrest the thief. So, Mr. Speaker, those who are strong to arrest the thief, because when you go to the bungalows and they hear that there are robbers there, they will all hide in their rooms. When the robbers are gone, before they will come out with their dogs and say, where are the thieves? Where are the robbers? By that time they've gone. Let us recruit those who can arrest them and stop disturbing them with mass so that they can do the work for us. Mr. Speaker, some of the things are rare, but we don't want to accept it. Mr. Speaker, the rest of the ministers, they are capable. So this House together, we should all approve them so that they can go and serve the nation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Honourable members, at the conclusion of the contributions, the question is all those in favor of the motion listed in today's order paper as motion 10, as well as motion listed 3 in the addendum paper. All those in favor say aye. All those against say no. Honourable members, it's obvious the ayes have it. The motion is hereby adopted. And that this Honourable House has approved His Excellency the President's nomination of Mr. Ali Adolf G. Jong as Minister Designate for the Northern Region, Mr. John Kojo Japon as Minister Designate for OT Region, Mr. James Gunu as Minister Designate for Volta Region, Ms. Rita Akosia Awati as Minister Designate for Eastern Region, and Honorable Mohammed Mubarak Muntaka as Minister Designate for Ministry of Interior. Honourable members, on behalf of the House, let me extend our congratulatory message to all the ministers designate, to the regions as well as our own, Honourable Mubarak Muntaka. Honourable, we wish you well. Leadership. Yes, Honourable Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to congratulate the approved ministers, and on their behalf, thank the committee and the entire House for approving them unanimously. Mr. Speaker, I'm so grateful for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honourable Chairman of the Appointment Committee. Leadership, any indication? Leader of the House, if you indulge me, today I understand is World Education. Is it World Education Day? So if you indulge me, we can take that statement. You have so many statements, but you can take that one alone. It's a statement that commemorates with the day. So if you permit me, Anyway, I mean, well, honorable members, I think the pressure of the House is to adjourn the House. Monday, Tuesday. Honorable members, so we will adjourn the House to Tuesday. Tuesday, 12 noon. Tuesday, 12 noon. Honorable members, once again, let him thank you for your cooperation in spite of the hitches. The House stands adjourned.
Well, there you have it. It's done. The approval of 5 more ministerial nominees, starting off with the Honourable Member of Parliament for Aswanse constituency, Honourable Muntaka Mohammed. He has been approved as the President's candidate for the Interior Ministry. Alongside him are 4 regional ministers, the first 4 to have gone through the process of vetting: Ali Adolf G. John, Minister-designate Northern Region; John Kwejo Japon, Minister-designate Oti Region; James Gono, Minister-designate Volta Region; and Mrs. Rita Akosia Awate, Minister-designate Eastern Region. These 4 have also been approved by Parliament. We just saw the process that led to their approval. We also understand that there will be further processes, the last hurdle to cross, to have them working officially in their offices, to take place at the Jubilee House. More on that. But Joseph, we are adding on to the numbers.
Yes.
We're adding on to the numbers.
Yes, and so we know that, 6 have been approved and sworn in. They've already taken office. We also know that Parliament did previously approve 6, but those 6 are yet to be sworn in. Then with these 5 individuals who have also been approved. And so, so far, in terms of the individuals whose parliamentary process have been completed so far, the number stands at 17. And in terms of those whose swearing in has been completed, it's just 6. So about 11 of them, we expected them to be sworn in. Don't forget, if you take out those whose parliamentary process have been completed, Parliament has to vet at least 25 others so far. And that 25 would also have to go beyond the 25 to there are 18 others who will also be appointed as well.
Indeed.
And so for the next at least 1 or 2 weeks, we expect Parliament to do a lot of work towards helping His Excellency the President have his government in place. But it's a step towards having the government in place, like we had said earlier. And for those who may have missed bits of the coverage because we crossed over to the Volta region for the President, we know that when Parliament resumed, the majority leader and the minority leader did indicate that they had reached an agreement that the concerns that were being raised by the minority leader with regards to the Abum North, the majority leader, Mama Yariga, did indicate that they were going to investigate and look into that particular matter, and they will brief the House on the way forward. And that was that agreement that resulted in the minority agreeing to stay
to move forward
for proceedings to continue. And so that has been resolved, and now they are coming back next week to continue with the work.
Fantastic, fantastic. But, you know, we also talked earlier about the absence of the NDC MPs in the chamber. We're learning that they are traveling with the president on his thank you tour. So perhaps on Tuesday, when the House resumes, we'll maybe have less of that. The president himself is traveling around the continent over the next few days. We'll see how that plays out. Because
I thought the president's speech in the Volta on appointments were quite interesting. You know, there's been a bit of incidents in the region about individuals not being appointed. And
yeah, and not just there. I mean, yes, this afternoon we hear of a Futu as well.
Yeah, in the Winneba area as well. The president actually, explained some of the appointments he's done and why he's done and what influences it. He says, one, is based on merit, is based on regional balance, is based on gender equity and also the availability to serve. And he makes the point that, look, Volta region is going to get its fair share. And so that is also another thing that came from the presidency, and hopefully that would also put people at ease in terms of those who are agitating and engaging in the violent conduct and destroying party and public properties as well.
But, you know, in spite of that, we have also seen a formula to some of the appointments that as of now, we can put a minister for every region. So all 16 regions are represented so far in the appointments that is made when it comes to the ministers of state. So perhaps the people of the Volta region and all the other people who are aggrieved can take the president on that in the next few days, weeks maybe, when he starts to make appointments, more appointments to government agencies and quasi agencies and the likes. Anyway, so that's it for that. But I was making the point that perhaps
original tours.
Yeah, you know, perhaps not that the president may be out of the country. On Tuesday, we'll see the majority side become bigger than it was today, and for good reason, right? For good reason, because the NPP has taught them, the NPP has shown them that, look, if you are not there, despite our micro minorityness, we know how to use our numbers, right?
Yeah. Just on a lighter note, I mean, we'll have an acting female president for the first time next week.
Absolutely, you're right, and it's not on a lighter. I don't know why you think it's on a lighter note, but yeah, we overlooked that, but that's really important, isn't it?
It's never happened before.
It's never happened before, and now I'll be eager to know how she moves around over that week.
I think a lot of it's not being celebrated as much as it ought to be in the last couple of weeks. But yes, that will happen.
I guess it also has to do with the fact that there's a lot of history making around her coming in. We've never had a certain president or a former president return. We've not had a contest between a former president and a certain vice president. And so I guess, it created that space for her to have drowned a little bit. Yeah. But you're right, it's something we need to pay attention, to a lot. But just
on the numbers that you're making the point, I mean, that could occur because once these individuals are sworn in today, it will mean that all of them would be going to work for the first time on Monday. I mean,
that's true.
Those who are in Parliament. And within a week, they would have to be adjusted at the ministries.
The whips have a lot of work to do.
Yes, they have
the whips have a lot of work to do. We'll see how that plays out. But as we bring our coverage to a close this week, I'll go over the nominees who have just been approved. Again, Muntaka Mubarak, the Honourable Member of Parliament for Aswase, Minister Designate for the Interior. Adolf Ali G. John, Minister Designate Northern Region. John Kwejo Japong, Minister Designate Oti Region. James Gono, Minister Designate Volta Region. And Rita Akosia Awate, Minister Designate Eastern Region. And those are the people, their photographs on your screens at the moment. Let's see that of the Honourable Member of Parliament for Aswase. Yeah, there he is, Mubarak Mohammed Muntaka, Minister Designate for the Interior. We expect that there will be a swearing-in ceremony later today. When that happens, we will bring it to you live here on TV3. In the meantime, Joseph and I will take a break from the coverage. We'll be back when there's
there anything you want to say to me?
I